Brady Street Pharmacy, Stories and Sketches. Published by Vegetarian Alcoholic Press, 2021. Written and narrated by T. Krulos. Hey, that's me. You gotta write about this place, Mo said, but no one will ever believe this shit. Dedicated in memory to Maureen Jameson, a.k.a. Mo. Chapter 1. Zorro is Dead. When I met Jim, owner of the Brady Street Pharmacy, a classic greasy spoon diner, soda fountain, convenience store, pharmacy counter, and later also a performing arts space, he was crying. At that time, I was about 22 years old and had just quit a long series of shitty jobs, telemarketing, dishwashing, pulling weeds as a landscaper, and a bunch of temp jobs. Most recently on my resume, I had been enjoying being carefree and unemployed. But now I had to come up with rent, damn it, and maybe a bag of groceries and a bottle of cheap booze. I wandered the east side of Milwaukee, filling out job applications, growing sick of writing my own name. I walked into the Brady Street Pharmacy and scanned the contents of the building. Rows of fluorescent lights and metal shelves set up as aisles. I approached a cash register near the entrance. It was set up like an island, a square counter with a small opening for the employees to walk in. On the back counter were piles of boxes. The front had a cashier ringing a customer up, racks of cigarettes behind them. The cashier raised an eyebrow when I inquired about a job and pointed me to the other end of the store, where blue letters from the 1980s spelled out prescriptions. I walked down an aisle towards the letters. The diner was on one side of a border of waist-high magazine racks, which held hundreds of magazines, newspapers, romance paperbacks, and coloring books. The diner was full of East Side characters, and my eyes grew big as I watched the waitresses balancing plates of hamburgers and meatloaf on their arms, swooping over half-empty coffee cups with a pot, black spout for regular, orange for decaf, to fill them up. These waitresses were pros. I instantly identified several patrons as being obvious weirdos. This was before the smoking ban, so the air was filled with thick, bluish-gray, second-hand smoke. Wow, this is like a David Lynch movie, I gleefully thought. It certainly had enough pies and coffee cups to act as props. I was to find that some days the pharmacy was as profoundly human as Edward Hopper's painting Nighthawks. Other days it was as ugly and brutal as something written by Charles Bukowski. My eyes looked down at the magazines passing by me: Time, People, TV Guide, Weekly World News, GQ, Milwaukee Magazine, Varmint Hunter, Royal Life Magazine, The Daily Racing Form, on and on. I turned and looked the other direction, rack after rack filled with bright primary color candy packaging, every sugary sweet of your dreams. I reached the pharmacy counter. No one appeared to be there. I looked around. From where I was, you could see into the kitchen, where there were a couple of cooks and a dishwasher. They didn't seem too busy. A portly cook, covered in grease, saw me looking at them. "Hey, Jim," he yelled. "Customer." A mousy man with bright white hair, a bland yellow dress shirt, and a tie with King Kong swatting at airplanes from the Empire State Building on it, stood up from somewhere behind the pharmacy counter. His eyes were red, and he wiped them with his hand. "I'm sorry, just kind of a rough day here," Jim said sadly. He shrugged his shoulders and lifted his hands up. "Zorro died." He said this as if I would understand completely. "Oh?" I replied, confused. Zorro? Like the actor who played him?" Jim must have realized then that I had never met him before. "My bird." He pointed to something behind me, and I turned to see an empty bird cage hanging from the ceiling by a white plastic chain. I hadn't noticed it on my walk back to the pharmacy counter, because I had been gawking the other direction at the cafe full of eccentric.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?